Yeah, you kind of mentioned this idea of formal manuals of logic, missing out the sort of kind of key component of reasoning, which you claim to be attention. And you've kind of already just spelt that out for us quite nicely there, that attention's key to us actually being able to dive into something and understand what's going on. Would you mind kind of, I guess, helping us to understand practically how one can engage their attention in such a way as to be able to pick up, not necessarily to try and pick apart things, but to notice things that might otherwise go awry?
Yeah, I mean it's difficult to describe what attention requires without sounding just sort of like one stating the obvious, or just saying something very very clear. Um, I think okay, so let's just say something about why I think attention is important. I think if you look at the history of thought in many many domains, that is what makes the difference between the people who make progress and those who don't. They have simply noticed something that other people have missed. And why have they noticed it? Well, because they paid closer attention, right? Well, maybe they were just lucky, but maybe they just paid close attention. I think one of the I think give an example about the discovery of penicillin here. I mean, so the experiment, as people know, the experiment with penicillin, discovery of penicillin was a result of something going wrong, some petri dish being left in the lab, and it wasn't sterile and stuff grew. But what happened was that, Fleming, wasn't it? He looks at it and it's, hang on, had a curiosity about it, and rather than just saying, "Oh, that's a failed thing," and chucked it away, thought, "That's interesting. Why did that happen?" And they looked more closely and they spotted something which could have been completely missed. Um, and a lot of philosophy, I would say, isn't really about argument. It's about the paying of attention. So Hume's, I think, refutation of Descartes' view of the self is based on the fact of, hang on, you're saying there is this I which is stable, constant, the focus of experience, but actually pay attention to what's going on when you're thinking. Do you really notice there's an I there? Curiously enough, this is exactly the same sort of method of argumentation, if you like, that the Buddha used traditionally in the Buddhist text. So paying attention, I think, is critical. I think it's also really critical in ethics, actually, because I'm increasingly of the view that, again, ethical theory has its place and it's quite interesting and potentially useful. But I think that often to make good ethical decisions, you have to sort of really observe what's most important and most salient in the case that you're looking at, and not just come in with a principle, right? Um, if you think about, I'll try and say this without being sort of partisan or anything. We're talking at a time where the situation in Gaza has been going on for a very, very long time, and I think that people perhaps on both sides can be blinded to what obviously needs to be done because they have a certain view about the justices and the rights or wrongs of the situation. And it makes it look like the solution is simple and straightforward and perhaps one-sided. At the same time, if people can also get so stuck into the moral rights and wrongs, they end up thinking, oh, it's a no-win situation. Who knows what to do? I think that whatever one thinks about the situation there are certain things which, if you just look and see what's happening, and you see who's suffering and how it could be prevented, there are certain things that you just must do. And getting too caught up in sort of principles and all this kind of stuff is actually going to get in the way. So yeah, paying close attention, I think, is really 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 important. How do you do it? You just get into the habit. I think slowing down, I think, is one of the main things. I mean, one of the things I talk about at several points in the book is just how much you can improve your thinking by just taking your time a bit. And I said, I think, in the introduction that the people, it's a bit of a cliche, we live in a short attention span world. It's not entirely true. I mean, people listen to very, very long podcasts, longer than this one, they watch these box sets. But anyway, but certainly in some ways we're more short attention. And a lot of smart thinking books, I think a lot of the attraction of a lot of smart thinking books is that they promise these sort of cognitive hacks, if you like, ways to sort of think better, smarter, but quicker. They save you time. And, I'm kind of saying I want to do the opposite. Rather than cognitive hacks and shortcuts, I think we need to have cognitive speed bumps. We need to do things to deliberately slow ourselves down so that we can just not jump from one thing to another, pay a little bit more attention.
If you enjoyed this clip, then head on over to Locals to access the full conversation right now. Supporters can access the video version, and everyone can access the audio-only version of the conversation. I'll see you over there.